you an extension yoga warm-up that you can do that should make you feel good. Now, one thing to remember about extension intolerance is they tend not to like to hyperextend their spine. It's a bad idea. Another thing I've noticed is they don't tend to like to push down or lay on their stomach. So this yoga is more designed for that person in some of the key areas that I tend to find that extension intolerant people have issues with. Now, I'm going to show this video without wearing the belt, just because extension people might not have a belt and I want them to be able to have a warm-up that they can do too. Again, I'm Cindy Angulo and I'm the creator of the FX Boom Fitness System, and I wanted to give you a really elaborate warm-up that would make you feel amazing. So starting off, I'm going to show you some of the things with the chair and I'll show you some of the ones without, because the chair tends to give the ability to those that have a lot of tightness to get better form, and you don't have to be on the floor. All right, let's go ahead and take a deep breath in, reach tall and blow it out and forward fold. Now keep your legs straight, and I'm just trying to reach down towards the ground, or you can kind of reach down out into the chair. My goal is not to overly just round my back. I'm trying to get the hamstrings to loosen up a notch. So holding it here, breathing in and blow it out. Go into a plank here. Now, instead of an upward dog, I always choose a plank because upward dog is a hyperextension. Spine generally makes you mad. So if you don't like it, you're probably right for not liking it. And push back into a downward dog. Really push the chair away. Go up on your toes. Make sure your toes are straight. Come back forward into a plank. And then let's push back into a downward dog, kind of pushing again away from the chair. Holding it here. One more. Come forward. Now, if you want, you can kind of roll those shoulders back and roll them forward and kind of up and down, holding it here. If that's way too much, you have shoulder issues, then scratch that. Just sit here and breathe and pull back and blow it out as you pull back. Now, I'm going to have you lift one leg up. Now, if you can do this on the ground. This is a three-legged dog. Bend that knee and let's do a hip circle. Now let's switch directions, do the hip circle the other way, and then let's bring that leg in and through into what's called a falling star, and you can move into this position, blow out as you kind of drop into it. Again, if you're on the floor, this is kind of what it looks like, or you can open up that chest. Holding it here. Now if you want, you can even lay it down on the ground, or you can do a modified pigeon where you kind of bend that knee. Now, if you love pigeon, you can also do a modified pigeon kind of off the chair. Any of those work. And then I want you to go ahead, push back to a plank and back to a downward dog, holding it here, whether you're on the floor or on the chair. And then go ahead, kick that left leg up, the other one. I'm going to take it down to the floor, bend the knee. Let's give me a hip circle. And then let's reverse that direction. Okay, now we're going to bring that knee all the way in and cross, and we're going to drop down into that hip. If you want to hold it up in the air, you can. If you want to raise an arm up, or again, if you want to take it down to the ground, or if you want to drop it even down into a very modified moving pigeon. I don't like the pigeon where you force it way out here because it tends to jam out the hip capsule or the labrum. Not a big fan of that. Another really good one that tends to feel good is kind of off of a chair and hanging out and just sitting there and breathing as you get into this position, getting that glute stretch. Now, I'm going to take you into some easier ones first. Let's go ahead, turn around and sit on the chair. So this one, I'm going to have you put your knees wide. Not everyone can get low and into a squat. Pushing out on your knees, just kind of rocking side to side. You can actually reach down, reach up to the ceiling, reach down and get some T-spine mobility going. If you can't quite reach down, you can always push off of your knee. Another one is taking your knee and dropping in, just getting some of that hip mobility going. A really good upper body one that you're going to feel is grabbing a chair or something and opening up that chest, straightening your arms. My thumbs are down. Deep breath in, and as you blow it out, de-shrug your neck, open that chest. You can take one foot out, reach into a hamstring stretch, reach up, reach into a hamstring stretch. Now I challenge you to reach wide and narrow and crossed, because you might find that you're tight on one of them on one side and tight on the other side. Find what is your tightness. So when you're doing it, you're leading with your chest. I'm trying to set my belly button on my thigh, and I'm coming up. As I reach down, I blow out, and I take a breath and breathe in. Blow out as I reach, breath and breathe in, and I'm going cross. So play around with that. You're gonna see that again on the floor. I'm gonna grab the chair. This is a great upper chest one, and I'm gonna lift off. If this is too much on your shoulders or your neck, then obviously stop. Pushing your shoulders away from your ears. Open. If you want to kind of move your head around, find that happy point. Hips are up, glutes are tight. And then go ahead, sit back down. One more. I'm going to have you cross your arms, and I'm going to have you grab, and I'm going to have you pull. Opening up that upper back and chest. Nice. And let's go ahead, stand back up. I've got one more with the chair in particular. I'm going to have you put a leg out to the side. I'm going to have you rock forward and back. This is a modified Cossack stretch. Rocking forward and back, and then you can reach through with the hand of that. So my right leg's out. I'm going to reach through with my right hand, and I'm going to raise it up to the ceiling. Sit back, reach to my right hand, raise it up to the ceiling. I'm going to do that on both sides. Now one side may be tight and the other side is not. Pay attention to that. So I'm going to reach through. I'm reaching up to the ceiling. I'm going to reach through and reach up to the ceiling. And then I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to just move my core around. Just kind of get my shoulders and my upper back moving. Now I can also do a lunge stretch where I drop forward into a hip flexor stretch. And I'm going to push back into a hamstring stretch. I can wobble my foot, drop down. I'm going to tuck my pelvis first, drop into that hip flexor stretch, lift up tall. If my left leg's back, I'm going to lift my left arm up, and then I'm going to pull back. One more, drop down, left arm up, and pull back. Same thing on the other side. I'm going to drop down, make sure my back toe is not turned out. Have it straight, if anything, or maybe even turned in. Play around with that. And then pull back. Drop back down if I can reach that back arm up. And then I'm going to pull back. One more. Drop all the way back down. Reach up. Make sure I tuck my pelvis before I get there. So that way I actually feel the stretch here versus not really feeling any stretch at all. And then I pull back. And I'm going to put both feet back. Push one more time to a downward dog. Kind of wiggling around, come back to a plank, walk my feet in, and round it all the way up. So now I'm going to show you a little bit more of that sequence, but on the floor. So you can continue to do it with the chair, you can try it with the floor. Deep breath in and blow it out, lead with that chest. Give me that half lift and forward fold. Just let everything hang, shake your head, legs are strong, firm. Toes are gripped into the ground. Hold it here. You can wiggle around. And I'm going to walk my hands out, hop back to a plank. Now I'm not going to that upward dog because it's not my favorite pose. Being an extension intolerant person, probably not a great idea. And then I'm going to pull back to a downward dog. And I'm going to go back up into my plank. Again, I can kind of move my shoulders around. Go back into a downward dog. Then I'm going to go ahead and raise one leg up. Bend my knee, give me that three-legged dog here. Go three-legged dog here. So I'm going to bring that knee all the way in, and I'm going to come crossed and put that foot out and reach that arm up into a falling star. Now you can keep both hands here. You can rest your hip down if you need to, whatever works. Bring that foot back, step that foot forward. I'm going to drop that back knee and kind of wiggle around. And get that hip flexor stretch here. I can push on this front knee. I can get into what's called a crooked monkey. Then I'm going to pull back into a hamstring stretch. I'm going to push back forward. And I'm going to pull back into that hamstring stretch. And I'm going to push forward. Then I'm going to pull back into that Cossack stretch. I'm going to rock forward and back. Now, if I need to, I can kind of pull my leg back as I go. I can reach through, blow it out as I reach through. Deep breath in as I reach up, push the ground away, reach through. Now, if your wrist hurt, make a fist. Fists do wonders. And again, keep in mind that that shoulder is probably the reason why that wrist is hurting so bad. You do not want to avoid doing wrist work. And then bring it back center. Now let's do that little circle thing, getting everything loose. You can take your knees a little bit wide. You can move your hips around. Your hips and shoulders are designed for circular action. This is just getting everything lubed up. Let's do a cat-cow. So cat, breathe in and blow it out into a cow. Cat, breathe in and blow it out into a cow. Hug, take your left leg up, bend that knee, give me that hip circle, one direction, and hip circle the other direction. Go ahead, bring that knee all the way in and bring it across and go out into a falling star and hold. Now you can always be on your fist, you can be on your elbow, you can have both hands down, you can be resting on the ground, you can kind of doing a rocking pigeon, any of those work, and just kind of holding. Now, bring that foot back, holding it here. I'm going to drop my right leg, push it under, deep hip flexor stretch. I'm going to pull back into a hamstring stretch. I'm going to go back out into that deep hip flexor stretch. I'm going to pull back into the hamstring stretch. One more. Go back out to that deep hip flexor stretch. Now I'm going to bring that leg out to the Cossack stretch. I'm going to rock forward and back. So forward and back like this. Now as I rock back, I'm going to reach through. If my left leg is out, my left arm's reaching through, and then I'm going to reach all the way up to the ceiling. And I'm going to go back down, reach all the way through, reach all the way back up to the ceiling, and reach all the way through, and all the way back up to the ceiling. I'm going to bring it back center. I'm going to do another circle. Child's pose, reach both arms crossed, drop over into one hip. So I got a big lateral stretch down that right glute. And then I'm going to come back forward and I'm going to, same thing, I'm going to go over to my left side. Now if you feel this and you need to stay here longer, by all means spend that time. If you don't feel the stretch all the way to my lower back and it stops at the armpit, that's a heads up that you might need to go a little bit longer to a downward dog. Holding, eyes forward, hop or float to the front of the mat. Give me that half lift. Do a forward fold. Again, hang. And go ahead, round all the way up. And bring it back to heart center. Left foot's forward, step back into a warrior pose. Give me a warrior pose here. Give me a reverse warrior, lean back. Don't arch your back, keep your abs tight. Go into a side angle, drop your elbow down. Push that back foot firm into the ground. If you need to, you can drop all the way down to here. Holding. You can put both hands here. You've got that lunge stretch. Straighten that leg if you can. And down. This is a pyramid right here. And down. Pull that toe back. And down one more. Toe back. Now walk center to a hangman. Everything's hanging. Legs are solid. Go ahead, turn over to the other side, get that low lunge, hold it here, now wiggle around, pull back, drop down, pull back, drop down, pull back, and then go back into a side angle, go deep. You can also rest your elbow on your knee, and then come all the way up into reverse warrior. Holding it here, don't arch your back, and bring it back to a warrior. Now take both knees out, give me a goddess pose. Push both knees out, dropping as low as you can into a deep squat. Holding it here, hold, open that right arm, drop down, open to the left, drop down, push both knees out. If you can, do an internal rotation drop of each knee. If that's too advanced, just stay where you're at. If you need something under your heels, That is fine. This is where the chair, we sat in it, was a little bit easier to do. Straighten your legs, hang, legs are solid. Walk a little bit over to one side, get that big lat stretch. Walk it up and over to the other side, get that big lat stretch. Walk it back center, grab your hands behind you, clasp your hands, and hang. If you can't clasp your hands, you can grab your elbows or your wrist, and just opening up that chest and hanging. Hold. Lower it down. Let's go ahead, hands on your hips, round it up all the way. Take a deep breath in, feet together, and step your right foot behind and lean all the way over. Get that huge stretch down the side of your body. Big reach, blow it out. And back center, step with the left foot, go all the way across. Big side stretch, all the way down the side of your body. You feel those QLs. You may have one side that feels good, one that doesn't. Pay attention to that. And back center, arms down. One last deep breath in. And blow it out. And you guys are done. So hopefully that gave you a good enough warm up that you can do for the extension back. Again, if you need the chair, just repeat the chair again. If you want harder, obviously you saw how to ground us. All right, stay tuned for more. Don't forget to subscribe. My name is